it out. The battleground is ready. And it is Sky.
Bada bing, bada boom. Oh, it's because
Curse was banned.
the curse was banned. What a bunch of dinguses standing up here talking about curse and it's removed. Going over to Sky though, but Sky over Braxis, not over BOE. And then I had another Towers. That's a pretty bold move here from Tempo.
Tempo seems to be shifting away from Towers.
They are no longer a Towers fan.
They picked it versus Gale Force and No Tomorrow still, but also lost both of those games.
So it's more of just a, we think we are, but maybe we aren't as good as this map as we think we are. Now getting new priority, moving over towards the Sky Temple. Interesting choice for them, but again, one that is more focused into the team fighting. I assume that Tempo will be able to take the upper hand, and is the team who's better at early game, usually is successful in this. I feel like Genji's even more, now that it's not cursed, Genji has got to be at the top of the list for both these teams. And Dahaka, hopefully a little bit lower. Illidan is something I really want to see spike for specifically Superstars, though I think, again, it's unlikely we see it from them, but I really feel like they can make some big plays if they get that into their arsenal.
Superstars really do like Genji here. They've also played Cassia before, Dahaka, but Temple Storm has not played Sky Temple yet in Phase 2, so we might be seeing something new from Tempo Storm, which would be exciting to see.
I refuse to believe. They picked Dragonshire and I saw nothing new. I'm just going with like they are just adjusting things, you know? Or again, it's more of like they're trying to practice more things using this as like a scrim opportunity to be able to learn as a group. Either way, we are at a potential match point, and it's going to be draft starting off for game number 4 on Sky Temple. Gotta calculate the MMR. Give her a mini. Yep. There we go.
There we go.
We figured out who's the best player on these teams. Tassadar. You ban Tass or you ban a noob? Neither?
They ban Uther?
You ban the Uther? I feel like you ban the Tass. It's a too good of a Tass Tracer, Tass Illidan rotation to not move into that direction.
Yeah, Tempo doesn't play a lot of him, but on occasion. And it is a good Task Tracer place for battle.
Ooh.
Illidan.
So my dreams were crushed as of the first result in the entire draft.
Genji ban? No.
Okay, so if you ban the Anub here,
then you're giving Genji and then you don't have Cocoon.
but you get Uther Stitches, which Tempo's been adoring in their 1-2.
Guess they can try to gorge him. If they can't Cocoon him,
You gotta gorge
you gotta
him.
eat him.
Either way, it's taking him time, and that alone is a bit surprising. Genji over to Superstars. I said it at the beginning of the series, still feel the same way. One of the best chances of them getting a win over Tempo Storm. One of those few heroes that can kind of win any team fight if it just goes slightly wrong. Much like I used to often talk about Zeratul being that hero, we have a lot more of those viable in the current meta. Genji, Illidan, and Zeratul are all one of those.
They did not win with Genji on Dragon versus Tempo Storm.
Yeah, they did not.
But it is still...
It's too good of a hero.
Yeah, it's so good.
Genji is so good. He is almost good in that slot just to deny your opponent because they're better with it, right? Like, it just flat out is like, if I don't ban it, I have to pick it because they're that much better with it, and it's such a high impact hero that no matter how little a team wins with it, I don't hate them for committing to the Genji. It's all the rest of the draft I may judge behind it. So it's an Uther Stitches rotation out of Tempo Storm. This level of predictability, that's when I feel like it should be punishable, right? Like, it's just, if I can predict 100% your 2-3 or 1-2, it's just like, I am already ready to go. Superstars lock it in, bust it up, ready to go into the next rotation, but they not as confident here. What do we want then? Could still see the Dahaka.
I'm wondering if they'll put Rhaegar up here.
Really hope. This is actually not that bad for a Rhaegar this time. This is very different than we saw before because they don't have Stitches, number one. Uther has already been picked up on the other side, and Genji can benefit from the Rhaegar. I still don't want it.
Going into Haka.
So they go with the Greymane Dahaka.
So Greymane is the new Stray hero.
Yeah. I feel like
Dahaka for Yoda.
for me, the only supports in the game, other than an overly synergistic one, that are like I want to see before the secondary ban phase is always Uther and Ariel, and then all the others I feel like waited up. Like unless they again have one key element you need before the secondary ban. So Tempo now have the option to be able to remove one of those supports we were talking about if they think that it's necessary. But their comp is so open-ended it can go any direction. It's more just going to be limiting that of superstars.
Well, they shouldn't be fearing an Ariel. They're in fact considering Malfurion.
What
does that tell us? Where is Tempo going?
I can tell you what I see.
Okay.
It's not what you're going to want to hear.
Okay.
NA is very confused on where supports belong. In terms of, they aren't confused in terms of what they think personally, but between every team we have in North America, and you are asked them to draw a list of where they think each support belongs, it is completely different from the team 1 to 1 to 1 to 1 to 1. Like to see that Malfurion now be attended to when you have the stitches onto your, like, you know what I mean? Like, now he's too big of a problem, but before you would ignore him, Uther made it through certain drafts all the way through. Now he's first pick worthy. It is very all over the place when it comes to support specifically in North America. Other teams we can barely make it past before double support's locked in. Ariel, something else, right? It's just everywhere.
Speaking of Vala Ariel.
If that means anything specifically, it's something more focused towards the Dream because there is no...
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. If they were wanting to be more dive heavy.
Medivh. Can't forget that. Having the Malf, having the Dahaka, and then having the Medivh. It's a risk, but it's still a thing.
Who are you saying that for Tempo Storm? For the Gorge portal?
No, I was saying for the Malfurion Dahaka on the same team and the Medivh being that third thing. We were talking about Roll 20 and kind of their ideology on when the Medivh slot comes in. Maybe that's the Malfurion focus. I was just trying to justify it after tilting. Arthas Li Ming was the choice. A lot of burst, a lot of follow-up to the Stitches hook this game. Tempo. The comp looks really intimidating. What front line and back line or support are we going to have for superstars? I want something with hard initiation. And then I want to see something with a lot of lockdown. Maybe a Muradin? Tyrell's left, but I just feel like Superstars is very much not on the same page enough to be able to walk away with a pick like that, at least not in their current form.
Yeah, I think it's either Muradin or maybe Varian for Airho. Support-wise, still think Rhaegar for Superstars.
Leo?
Okay.
How do we end up on Leoric here?
Great question. Well, there's Arthas and Stitches, two frontliners who once they're up there, they're going to be up there.
Yeah.
And then you've got Leoric to add to a lot of damage. Leoric, Greymane as two tank busters.
Oh, it's Royal Focus. It's double Silk Zool approach. It's just NA's never done that. So I've been, like, when I see the Leo, I just go, how is this going to add up? I actually feel like this is now, as long as they go into that direction, into a double, as long as they go Royal Focus, double Split Soak, and then trying to apply pressure, you don't think so? There's no world?
I don't think they're
okay,
going
well
into
then,
it.
if they don't do that, then I take everything I said back, and I really am scared for Superstars in this game because Tempo, their draft is really confident, and the Leo, he might have some problems this game. Like getting 100 to 0 in about half a second, that would be the first. The second problem would be the next time that happens, and this probably about 10 times this game, I assume that's going to go down.
Which is kind of why I think that they would rather have Hardened Bones at 4.
Nothing is going to save you. Get the value out of the wave clear. Get some reason to make the Leoric worth that pick.
They have Leo and Dahaka.
Let Dahaka sit on the... He has a global. Who cares? Let him be the third lane whenever you need that in the downtime. Leo, in your side soak all day. That's what I want to see. Just being a problem between mid and through bottom during the first phase, and then through mid and top through the secondary one. Leo should be able to push into the Abathur really, really hard. The Dahaka should be able to do that too. Win this game through macro, and I feel I just said that about a map on Sky Temple, but they drafted it. They're kind of stuck with it, and I feel like that's the best chances they have a win in the game.
Well, we have an easy bake oven, which is when there is Entomb and Lightning Breath, but I wonder what it is with Entomb and then Dragon Blade, because we've seen that a few times now. So let us know. Use the hashtag HGC. Tweet at us. Let us know what that combo would be, because we're going to see it. The slap chop. Okay, let's get into the game, because nobody can beat that. It's so good. The slap chop.
Oh, baby. I think the most embarrassing thing about that is you actually can see my thought process as you're asking that question if you go back and watch the VOD. I put 2 and 2 together, I immediately light up. I'm like, I got it. It's the slap chop. No, but seriously, you guys are better at that than us. I want to see if anybody got anything that could beat that up, because that was, ooh, man. Proud moment for me. Probably the best name I've been able to come up with that quickly.
I love it.
All right.
It is Airho playing that Leo. Yoda will be sticking with his Dahaka.
Yeah, it's already level 1. Doesn't necessarily mean it's at level 4 if we're going to see any kind of split pushing here.
That's the range increase. Airho was immediately in trouble with the hook, but he is a good target to be hooked because of Wraith Walk.
Really quick reaction time there on Airho. Nice Howling Blast. Genji goes in. No reset.
So close. The Carp is there.
And he doesn't even get the kill. My goodness. Ooh, Sray for being a different role. We're getting flashy. That's a disengage into a turret explosion attempt. If he was level 4, that was a kill. You know what? I tip the hat. You know, I'm
That's not the first time we've had that from him either.
Yeah, he's kind of getting a little wild with it.
Let's obviously practice this. It's fun. One of I think the most fun things about watching Superstars is where Sray, where he goes with his next hero, because we've sort of seen his evolution as a ranged flex for the team every single week, where he comes in and he's like, okay, now I have Tassadar, now I have Gul'dan, now I have this. Still has his chin.
I'm gonna be honest, I've been impressed with his play across all of today. I wouldn't necessarily go and be like, greatest thing I've ever seen, but he has been doing things that I would say he's even better than on his warrior role with some of the micro decisions that he's ended up making throughout this game. Not something I expected to walk up on the mic and say today. It's been consistently like, how much has Sray grown? But most of the time it's just been like, is this fast enough for the team? But today I'm going like, I think it could be if it keeps up at the rate that we saw from last week to this one.
Yeah, it's been a pleasant surprise today to see his gray main.
Like, throw the flask. You'll find the worm. Kotha's got to be careful. He's... One flask. If he knows he's over that wall, that is a dead worm.
There are certain times, and they mostly involve Abathur, where I know I'm supposed to be talking, but I'm just so terrified. I'm like, please run away.
I've had a couple of those where it's like, I just want to sit there and watch whatever's happening happen, you know? And then I go, oh, my job is to talk about this. Like Yoda going way too deep there, getting punished hard.
Yeah, Fury had a great setup to maybe get the team another kill, but Genji still had Swift Strike, so he got out. Rest of the Tempo shots will be captured by Tempo Storm.
And Tempo getting a pretty successful early game. The fact that they weren't too concerned in the world of shots, and the fact that, you know, they got a pick early on with an Abathur composition already showing really good signs for this game number 4.
But it should be easy for Superstars to be able to take out that top fort before Abathur can get his mule. Although, Sray might be in trouble. We've got a rotation coming up. Stitches is already there. He's hiding out. Li Ming's coming in. Sray is in trouble.
No eyes in the dark, no way.
No.
There's nowhere else. The only eyes in the dark can save you from this. I'm sorry. Sray goes down. I said your name because I got excited because I saw at level 4 the symbol that goes to see. And then I was like, wait, that's not the right colors.
Now that would be Hardened Bones, which will help a lot if we see more Leoric hooks or a focus onto Leoric. Once he goes into Wraith Walk, he gets 25 armor.
Gilly, you see that top fort? Have you taken a minute to appreciate how much HP it has?
Yes, that's what I was saying. They should have been able to take that thing down before Abathur got Mule. I was talking about that while you were
I know, my
hemming
OCD,
and hawing over the...
My OCD is killing me right now. Like, somebody go flick
You gotta
that
go
thing.
up there.
Quick.
They already got bruisers too.
Superstars, it's only a matter of time,
but
mate.
once Sray died, then everyone abandoned the bruisers and let it just push. But now Dahaka's getting it, so we're okay.
Whew. Somebody had the confidence to move past the minion. Thankfully, Yoda is going to be the hero we need at HGC. Fury eats a bit of damage after a nice totem from Iacona, but it's really just not too lethal of a 4-man outside of the Genji. 4 superstars.
1 fort down. Both teams setting their eyes on this bottom lane. Giants have already been captured for Superstars, but not so much for Tempo Storm. And Superstars doing what they like to do on Sky Temple, which is invade the Giants before the Temple phase. They almost take down Caterpillar too, and they will get the Giants.
Ooh.
Poke comes in. It's Sray.
But the Howling Blast missed. The interrupt actually with, I believe that was, I don't even know when the kind of knockback that was, but either way, it interrupted the Q there onto the Greymane, and it allowed them not to escape. Huge plays there from Tempo. Maybe it was the Hammer of Justice. Either way, Tempo is using the CC so very well. So is Yoda, though.
Poster was hoping to get a pick, but June is not going down easily.
Oh, Yoda with a half second too late. Cost him his life.
So now Superstars have lost enough people. Dahaka will be back in 15 seconds, but Greymane's going up to the top. It does seem like they're going to abandon this plan in the bottom, just going to keep some people here to defend so that Tempo Storm can't push for free along with the Temple. As I hit my microphone. But make sure that Superstars can keep members in lane. Posty gets hit, not even allowed to escape with either Cyber Agility or Swift Strike.
Have you ever seen like players sit next to a menu wave where they know nobody's there and they're constantly sidestepping? So like I would say like Snitch is a player who I know almost always does that. No matter how many people he can know on the map, he's constantly sidestepping and looking fancy with it. I almost get annoyed with him, right? Like when I watch him play. I know it's the right thing to do, but I'm just like, come on. You know nobody's there. It's for moments like that. For when maybe you just have an autopilot moment where you're like, the Stitches could be off on the side looking for a hook. And if you practice that, at least you're a little bit less predictable here and there. But cost Hosty his life there with a nice hook coming up from Cattle.
Hosty is back at least, and with heroic abilities. Superstars now having that, we're able to get Tempo Storm off the boss. Gorge, yet again. June, still thinking on it. Oh, we've got the Entomb.
Divine Shield, not going to take it. It's Divine Storm.
Got the kill in the end. Superstars finally getting their first kill in this game. So far, the kills have all been claimed by Tempo Storm up until that point.
Huh.
Dahaka immediately goes back into the, what's up?
I'm just thinking about that Divine Storm pickup there. You know, it's nothing that relevant. It's just whether or not, was that possibly an accidental misclick? I don't know. I can understand you want to take your heroic choice at the moment when things get relevant, and if you have a questionable one that can go 50-50, Iacona is put on a pretty good clinic of you wait as long as you possibly can. The fight happened, you got the Divine Storm and you win it and use it, but I don't know, it just seems weird that that was very much like a, here's the Divine Shield that saves it, and then you're like, here's the Divine Shield that saves it, and then you're like, oh, it's kind of a storm. So I'm wondering if maybe it was an accident, but I feel like I doubt it. You know, it's probably not the case.
Yeah, it's not like there's, like we talked about before, Genji or Greymane to enable. Superstars are gonna...
Yo, Li Ming's up bottom, so...
Whoa, look at this Dragon Blade!
They need a kill. Fury goes, oh man, he does go down. Hosty was finally able to get the damage on the other side of the wall. Ancestral's there, they gotta kill the sidewall if he has any chance.
No,
Is he gonna pro out?
Can't stay there. Nope.
Ooh, so very close, 13 seconds. We got 2 more shrines. But sadly, Superstars down a lot. Oh, look at that. Psalm with that damage there. Just body.
That was the saddest Greymane death I've ever seen.
Why was that the saddest?
He just was going over the gate and just died, face planted, face first down onto the dirt. Things are not going terribly for Superstars, although missing that drain help, probably going to be the end of Airho here. The rotation up was really good for Tempo Storm, but what I'm noticing is that Superstars really like to invade these bruiser camps.
Yeah. It is a weird trend that they have. That is specifically, the first time it happened was the double giants, and I immediately was like, whoa, that is so not Superstars. Then we saw it again the secondary time, and now we finally see them getting to the point where they're willing to risk it with Knights even.
Well, remember Dragongyre when they got a Dragon Knight and then invaded with that with Medivh?
Yeah, that's a good point. They have gotten surprisingly, I don't know, involved into getting and invading Knight camps. Superstars.
Just an observation.
Hide
like
your
sometimes
kids,
it
hide your Knights. They're stealing everything out here.
that is an old meme, but it checks out.
I don't know.
If I've ever heard it.
Oh man, but finally the shots have been converted there for Tempo. They find themselves another fort. It is a 50-50 when it comes to health and XP.
Yeah, structure-wise, this game's really even. Kills, Tempo Storm has been able to get far more thanks to the hooks, the immediate follow-up of said hooks, and the damage of some, although this time, Erho was able to get his Wraith Walk into effect.
Never forget the Royal Focus that could have been. Just saying, never letting it go.
That armor!
No, it kept him alive.
Just saved him.
It just single-handedly kept him alive there. I know, Gilly, I know. I just would really like Royal Focus and want a Royal Focus North American game. Superstars go ahead and end the downtime here, waiting for the next shrines. They end up picking up the Giants. Nobody's trying to abuse these rotational advantages at this stage of the game. It seems to be a step back that NA has kind of made as this, you know, constant learning to be aggressive. I feel like a lot of teams maybe felt like they were getting overly punished for being too heavy offense in this downtime, and it's gone back to this a bit of more of like a you stay on your half, we'll stay on ours type deal. But obviously, with certain things like the camps, teams are still willing to invade a little bit more. Nice hook.
Follow up.
Not maybe the...
He's gonna gorge.
That's not
Can they
the
catch him
order.
in time? Yeah, with the Entomb, they can. Hosty comes out, has Deflect, and Superstars just saved their Genji. I think Superstars has a chance in this game. I really do. They're getting into the later game. Yes, there's an Abathur on the other side, but the fact that there is not a Divine Shield, so Superstars do have the ability to try to chunk someone down. Somebody on the front line. They have Entomb, which we just saw, which can help if someone gets gorged. And then they have Dragon Blade. This does seem like a doable game for Superstars. They just need to get 16. You gotta get brawling.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, they're going to need a 16 to follow up onto Superstars. I'm just a little concerned with Tempo Storm and specifically Cattle when he's on Stitches. Like, the gorges that we see sometimes are, okay, you get it because it's like the intent of like, just can I get them behind this wall? But other times it's just anybody and everybody can get his hands on. And I'm surprised the consistency we see that talent coming out from them, for how little value it seems to gain at times, especially when you have a little bit more difficult composition on the other side to be able to deal with it. Urho's the one pulled in. See.
Turn this around. Entomb, Cattle's there. Curse Bullet came out. Cattle's in trouble, stuck in the Entomb. Yoda's on the other side, so is Genji. Divine Storm wrecks through and Genji goes down, but so does Cattle. It's a 1-for-1, but the Howling Blast follow-up. People are melting under the damage of Tempo Storm. We're able to take out 3.
Yeah, you saw Psalm getting a lot of resets there too to open up that fight. And now Tempo Storm is going to finally get themselves in a spot to where this game is their game to lose now. They've hit the breaking point where they have trading mid shots and top shots that are enough to get enough pressure on the keeps, where you're threatening both mid and top keep during the next shrine phase, and you're closing the gap onto 20 that much more. So right now, Tempo Storm, they have to make a devastating mistake for Superstars to come back.
Yeah, that fight was very important for Superstars if they were going to mount a comeback in this. But let's take another look at this fight again, because I want to check out where the Ancestral came in. Cattle got so incredibly low, was able to gorge out damage for a little while, but the Divine Storm went down and Genji just could not be saved with the Ancestral healing, and that started the damage, the resets for Li Ming to get back and get the following kills.
Yeah, it was a nice... Oh, man, we're back in the action. Greymane, he's already blown up. Nice drag from Yoda. Can he get the kill on the June unit? If he does, June has healing afterwards. Hosty on the side, trying to get the Shuriken in. Dragon Blade there. The reset's not going to be given there because the Divine Storm cancels it. And oh my, Hosty dies. June kites his way out, and he will survive another day.
That was a great play, a great storm from June to stop Dragon Blade. Hosty is having a lot of trouble with the heroics of Tempo Storm, and it's easy to see why now, why the Divine Storm was picked. The fact that they have Gorge too, lots of different ways of trying to make sure that Hosty is dealt with in a team fight. And Psalm, it does seem like Psalm has been really untouched in these fights.
He really has. He's just been free reign. Now he doesn't even have any mana at this boss, but with Superstars not able to have a at least respectable presence over that boss fight, they are now going to give it up for free. How much more is gained here? Temple Storm. We have Uther on the Giants. Nobody's capturing the shots up on top. How do... Such a weird moment, and now Fury's caught out.
Do Superstars go for more or go back and try to defend the boss?
I mean, look at the miscommunication between Tempo, though. Seriously. They had an Uther Li Ming back on Giants for 45 to an entire minute, it felt like. That's probably not that long. It was more like probably 20 to 30, 40. But still, and then two members moving up all the way with that boss. They are just not on the same page, or at least really misjudging the timing on some of their rotations, and at least Superstars was able to get that punishment.
They be feeling like they were so close to 20 that Superstars wouldn't show up and be aggressive.
But the thing that's weird is that June stayed on it. That you had an Uther soloing with an Abathur camp forever. He was never going to make it to that boss on a reasonable timescale. Then Li Ming stopped to help him, and then you're definitely not making it. So that's the part where I get so confused. I agree with you. At first, like, I see the argument at first glance, but then when you really look at how it played out, they were very much not intending to do any of those things.
Yeah, it was strange. But they still have 20, they still have an advantage. They haven't taken out a keep yet. Superstars need 20, so they have a little bit of time to try to regain control despite losing Arthas there.
Yeah, they didn't lose enough for Superstars to really hit anything. The best part, though, is Superstars may be able to, with the Dahaka, get enough experience to get a 20-on-20 fight at the later stages of this game. And if they win that, it might be enough to win the game.
I've been pondering the level 16 of Greymane, getting Executioner. There are a lot of slows to combo that with, but I kind of was thinking that maybe you would go into Alpha Killer as a way of being able to make sure, since they've been so focused on cattle and frontliners, of getting that extra % base damage. Either way, there are, like I said, there's a lot of slows, specifically from Airho there. You can slow people down, as well as Iacona. There goes the first keep of the game. Tempo Storm still trying to step forward. Hook hits, Wraith Walk.
If Leo dies, it's not that big of a deal, but if a lot of the other members go down, it could be the end. Superstars even brought Yoda back out of fear of that all-in for Tempo. And again, Superstars will get the 20-on-20 fight. The biggest thing for them would ideally be taking it on the opposite side of the map. Conveniently, what is our time on boss here? We got a long while, I believe. Yeah, 2:09, so nobody's considering that. It's all about this top shrine and about the 10s.
Tempo is waiting for somebody to step out. Superstar sees that nobody is on the map. They are cautious, as they should be. They do not have 20.
I'm sorry, just that Leoric Wraith Walk into that shrub is with the assumption, is anybody in that shrub? And if so, am I going to get 100-0? But then he just drops it, and it's just an Abathur mine there. You know, the only thing he finds. I just found that too comedic. He's just like, oh, it's just a mine. 20's going to be here for Superstars, Gilly. Is it our fight?
There's the hook. That is Stray.
It's over.
And he is gone. Hosty gets gorged out of Dragon Blade. And in the blink of an eye, things are not good for Superstars in this fight, but it's the fight they have to take. They have to try to make it work. Divine Storm, but this time, Ancestral Healing lands. Hosty is hoping that he can get the resets. It's on June, though. Turns around, hits him. Hook pulls Hosty back, but he has a Swift Strike. Still continuing in the fight. Superstars are able to make this happen for a while, but eventually they end up losing to Haka. They lose to only take out Uther, who had Redemption.
And now it looks like Tempo Storm wants to try to end the game and end this series. Leo gets propulsion in. A lot of damage there onto the Wraith Walk. Hosty needs resets if he's going to be able to stall out this game anymore. Again, no Dragon Blade is online. The shielding, though, it's a double warrior Abathur Li Ming. They're terrible at all ending this core. This is not game over.
Here's Entomb. Posty uses his
Oh, but if
deflect.
they lose both
Arrow
of these,
Iacona.
they cannot lose both of those. Urho's only one, but that's the best target. It's a Leo. Again, the shielding on the core is not even touched. Tempo is very confident they can end this game, but they failed to realize they have zero consistent sustained DPS at all. Arthas is their best, not really, Li Ming and Abathur are still better, but kind of is their best core hero, and that's insane to think about.
Superstars kept their core alive. There's still shots that Tempo Storm can take. They're still in control of this game. And it not being able to finish the game, they will at least get some shots here and start working on taking out another keep, getting even more catapults toward the core of Superstars.
All the members of Superstars seem to be gathering here next to Urho. Oh, Fury's off on his own. I was going to say, man, that might be an Entomb kill. But we do see the helping hand from Caterpillar. Bring him in. Ooh. The repulsion play, that was flashy.
Superstars. Hosty's just like, I gotta take a break for a second, guys. Sorry. So Bruisers will push along the top lane. At some point, someone will have to deal with that from Superstars. Tempo Storm knows this. We've got the Mule healing up. They still have a fort. That is so annoying. But we're getting into the later stages of the game. If Superstars can take a decisive victory in a battle, they still have forts down in 2 of the lanes, and especially in that bottom lane. We've got a boss ready.
You know, that's honestly the best target that can happen too. So, you know, things are fine here for Superstars, unless this fight has to happen now, and it looks like it's gonna. That's adaptation pop for Yoda.
He's slowing things down. Posty's gonna get into the back line. They're going for
Psalm.
They want to take down Psalm.
Can he get it? The cleanse from, oh man, Iacona left and right. It's been perfect. Now they killed Caterpillar. June receives a bit of pressure. The Divine Storm locks down Hosey. Now that is a kill. Genji's dead.
Every time Genji finds himself on top of June, and June gets him with the Divine Storm. There's still 2 remaining. There's no Rhaegar, there's no support, so it's just Yoda and Stray left to try to keep Tempo Storm from ending this game.
Yeah, and you saw Fury there just, oh man, it's so frustrating because they have the clone of the Arthas sitting on top of Iacona the whole time, and he's just running as fast as he can away from the Arthas. But Arthas with the clone, it does bonus damage. It still has the slow going on, and you can't outrun it. There's no talent, nothing. It's just one dead Rhaegar unless you have Peel. And Superstars did not have the resources to be able to draw back and aid him, so he falls. We now have 17 seconds. At least 4 members of Superstars will be alive, all of Tempo, and we only about 10-second difference until we get Iacona back.
Yeah, it does feel like Tempo Storm is slowly working Superstars into a checkmate position now. With only 1 keep left, there are 2 temples available. There's a boss up for grabs. Superstars are running out of options in this potentially final game for them. 21 kills to 6. Tempo Storm hoping they can close things out. Only losing 1 game to Superstars. 1 game, it would be all weekend, since they got a 3-0 over to Ventic on Friday.
Yoda goes in. He's just trying to force it. Adaptation is going to be popped. Drag onto Stitches. Cattle receives a lot of pressure after that cursed bullet. The Entomb is going to be laid. Hosty trying to get the damage with the Dragon Blade. A lot of pressure still on the Cattle. Coffin on the other side. That is the first pick now. A reset available for Hosty. Psalm is focused. The Divine Storm buys the time, but the Ancestral lands.
It landed just in the nick of time, too. Iacona going after Psalm, and Superstars have done it. They've been able to take out Li Ming. Stitches and Li Ming down. There is damage. There's damage being done to the core of Superstars.
It's going to be Dahaka who has to back for that. There is no Mule available, no way to be able to heal up this damage to the core. There are also no structures, meaning the shots on bottom end the game for Tempo Storm. So no one on Superstars can look to just move out and end it right now. It's so frustrating for them. They have to find a way. This is totally fine. Honestly, a little bit too much damage. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Here we go. What do we end at? 39?
39%.
Okay, so now take the shots up on bottom, maybe to rid of the damage up onto the front wall, but it needs to be your global who does that. If so, Dahaka is already way too far out of position. Because you have to end the game. The game has to end right now for Superstars. Almost 100%.
Yeah, but top, Dahaka has to deal with top now. The boss is going to get a lot of free damage on it because Superstars stopped to get the Giants along with this. Arrow's just now stepping forward. Psalm is back. Caterpillar is back. Tempo Storm are going to get another go at ending this game.
After these 3 catapults are dead, maybe one more by Yoda, but from that point on, they have to look to end the game. They're going to start. Here goes the Entomb. Cattle, Curse Bullet, Blast thrown out. Same thing as the last few fights, but no.
Boss done.
Oh!
Boss done?
The reset
What?
is there! They might have the tools, Gilly. They might be able to. This boss is still weak. It's not over yet, but it is very possible that Superstars can win this. Urho needs to be wearing the core damage. Does he move up? He does. He's got it. The drain onto Fury. The Dragon Blade is there. They're hacking. They're slashing, and now they're onto the core.
June's trying to get in for his Divine Storm. He drops it, but Hosey is fine. He's still hitting there with the Dragon Blade.
They killed Urho. They already got Urho, and Hosey's so very low. Now Yoda, he can't go down. He does. If Hosey is dead, it could be the end. Psalm does not have the damage. The Frisbee shouldn't be enough damage either, but the core Gilly is going to end the game no matter what. Right now, those catapults just say GG. 1, 2, that's 4% a shot. Oh. All right, 26 is where we remain. But the shots on bottom end this game.
Leo will be back very soon, and then so will Stitches. Dahaka is the one. 30 seconds until then.
I respect this so much. This call by Psalm is really brilliant.
Sending Li Ming.
Maybe the worst target to go onto the core itself, but at least somebody needs to be there to draw aggro. Iakona's the focus. Ancestral thrown down just because he knows he's going to die. He doesn't have the mana. But then we have Uro here, back from the dead. Does he get the spike? June's down, but Redemption there. We have the 20s online. He'll be back in a couple, Gilly.
Psalm's here. Howling Blast connects on top of Hosty. And with Psalm, Fury, the double Arthas on top of Leoric. Stitches is heading toward the core. Dahaka is there. Dahaka stalking in.
And that doesn't matter. Stitches has got the game himself. I'm sure it's only a matter of time. Yoda, the last man to stand, it feels like. Stitches is ticking away, and that is it. Tempo Storm will win the series 3-1, but by no means maybe the fashion they expected.
Especially that last game.
Especially that last game. I mean, we just had a 26-minute Sky Temple.
That was an insane end game.
Yeah, it very much was, but it's just still, again, kind of goes to show that, like, we aren't used to games making that long, and Sky Temple's a map that you almost can't have a game longer than that, so very slow still coming out from these two.
Tempo Storm, slow and steady, wins the race. They did win it. They lost their Warhead game, but again, we talked about it, the drafting for Superstars was very understanding of what Tempo Storm was wanting to do and the way that they played things out. Superstars getting that victory on Warhead Junction, pretty nice for them, but obviously still trying to figure some things out for them, and they've shown that they have made a lot of the improvements and adjustments to start continuing that improvement, I guess. But up against a team of the caliber of Tempo Storm still, it was going to be a big upset if they would be able to get it.
Yeah, like I said before, I still feel the same way. It's like, when we look at the progress that Superstars has made week to week to week in phase number 2, this is the only gap from last week into this week where I go, these guys actually are going to be able to hold their own in North America. I feel like there is the skill ceiling will rise, that they will be able to grow and eventually be able to have a consistent place and maybe take some bigger names out, in the North American scene. But it's still a long ways away. If they keep up this trend, though, I think it's going to be very realistic. If they keep up the pace that I feel like we got out of weeks number 1 and 2, I feel like not so much. The progress was just a little bit too slow for those weeks for me to really jump out. I was pleasantly surprised, from Sray especially, this series.
I was as well. And it's important to remember that although Superstars might be getting to the point where they may not be able to be in range of qualification for the Western Clash, to look at things at the very end game of the World Championship later on, things still... It's really anyone's game because everyone will play each other once again in part 2 after the Western Clash.
Yeah, and I've talked a little bit to OC. I feel like in general that is a lot of their thought process. They by no means are looking for the short-term gratification, the small goals. They're way more for the long run, how they feel like they can develop as a squad. And that's a lot of the reasoning that they even made the change, after they got the roster swap and obviously picking up Yoda.
Well, as we talk about the Western Clash, while we're waiting on our interviewee, huge congratulations to Red Canids from Latin America. They'll be once again representing their region like they did at the mid-season brawl.
Feels like almost always that group of players, they just get a different name each time, and maybe one player changes out, but...
Yeah, they did have one player change.
Who do we got different, do you know?
They do not have Hamtaro.
Okay. He was a pretty standout for a while for them. So that's interesting roster change for them. But we have Vieira. That's the most important thing.
We do have
He
Vieira.
just steals my heart, man. Every time I see that guy, he's too lovable.
I know, I love hanging out with those guys. Those guys are great, so big congrats to them. Also, big congrats to Tempo Storm. Let's talk to Sam. Hey, Sam, congratulations. How did the series go for you guys? How are you feeling after that series?
The series was pretty clean overall. Warhead game we could have played better for sure, but I think we missed an engage and we kind of got snowballed on, but pretty good series. Yeah, it's good.
Good. That's good to hear. We saw you guys picking some different battlegrounds than we have seen from you guys in the past. Are you able to clue us in as to the reasoning for that, Sky Temple and especially the Dragonshire for Game 1?
Actually, we've been practicing Sky Temple and Dragonshire a lot.
Okay.
We like those maps a lot, so we're willing to pick them. I thought we picked Sky Temple before, but maybe not. Maybe it's because everyone always takes us to Sky Temple, but yeah, we like those maps too.
Yeah, it may have been that you picked it, but it was lower down in the series where we weren't as sure if it was a priority for you guys as much as potentially just running out of options too. But that's good to hear that you guys are getting some more favorite maps in and changing some things up. Dread?
I'm not even going to hit you with anything serious. I just mainly want to talk a little bit about, from last week's interview to this week's interview, seems a little bit better. The morale's getting a little bit better, confidence over to the last series. Do you guys feel like the scrims and such, the downtime, that you guys have been able to make those improvements that you're aiming for with phase number 1, and that finally maybe the slow progress you made is finally kind of hit the breaking point that the Avalanche will snowball in?
I think the main thing we need to focus on is closing out games, and as long as we're able to do that, it's kind of hard to practice late game execution like in the high pressure moments and scrimmages, as opposed to tournaments where tournament matches are like really, really high pressure. So it's kind of hard to, I guess, practice what we've been failing at, but I'm confident that we're going to be better.
That's awesome to hear.
Well, Sam, you guys are going up against Roll20 next. It is a storied rivalry between you guys. How are you guys feeling about that matchup, especially versus the new-ish version of Roll20 with Goku?
We're going to win.
All right. I love it. The confidence. The short answer. That's it. We'll let you leave it at that, and we'll get excited to cast that and watch that matchup next weekend. Any shout-outs?
Yeah, shout out to Twitch chat, of course. I love Twitch chat. It's my favorite part about this entire broadcast is the Twitch chat. And you guys, of course. So shout out to Tempo Storm. Shout out to our sponsors, Twitch, Secret Lab, Mass Drop, Skytech Gaming. Shout out to my teammates. And you can follow me on stream at twitch.tv/somhots. You can follow Junes at twitch.tv/junehots_, I believe. And you can follow Cattles at twitch.tv/cattlepillar.
Nice. Thank you very much, Sam, and congrats again.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Tempo Storm gets a 3-1, but lots of promise in Superstars play, their improvements, their adjustments to the new roster. And I look forward to seeing how Superstars do and what they bring in next week.
Might sound weird. I was more surprised in a good way for Superstars in that series than I was by Tempo by a long shot. So, I mean, yeah, I completely agree with you. For Tempo, it was like I almost felt like it didn't have that much improvement. They seemed to be pretty satisfied with it, but I'll tell you from my end, it did feel like maybe even a major step backwards. So maybe I'm wrong. It just the series and how they decided to play it out. But according to them, things went to plan, and it's nice to feel like they at least feel like they are making the steps in the right direction.
Definitely. They've got that morale boost, which will be important when they go